Hello friends, it's Jayma Malmy. Welcome to another scrapbook process video. Today I am working with a kit, but we are going to step it up and I'm going to show you how you can use kits to make things come together quicker and easier, but also have a little fun with them and customize them. So I have this photo of my in-laws with my kids that I'm going to scrapbook. This is from many years ago. This little guy is now 6 and she is almost 9. Look at that little smile on his face. He's just the happiest little kid. He still's the happiest little kid. But anyways, my mother-in-law is wearing this bright fuchsia color and I just thought it looked so much like wild berry. And I thought that this layout right here would be perfect for this photo. Now, let me turn in here to show you it a little bit closer. So this is supposed to be the cover page of a calendar, and this kit is supposed to be a calendar kit. There's 13 layouts in there, one for each month and a cover page, and then they're designed to go into your scrapbook album. I don't use them as a calendar. I like to just create layouts with them. You can certainly turn them into 2-page layouts or order 2 kits to turn them into 2-page layouts. I like to do 1-page and 2-page layouts, and today I'm just going to be doing a 1-page because I just have the one photo. So you might notice that there are 2 3x4 photos there. I just have one photo, but I am still going to fit it in that spot and we're still going to work with it. So I'm going to show you how to use different size photos and still work within the confines of a kit. And we're also going to add a little bit of mixed media, add a little cardstock, and just add some personal touches. But this is still going to come together very quick and easy. So let me show you what comes in these kits. Just a very quick overview. You get everything pre-cut. So this is not the way I always and typically scrapbook. I like to, work with big paper, cut it down, create my own design. But I like working with these kits sometimes because they come together quick and easy. Everything is already pre-cut for you. It's labeled so you know which ones go to which pages. I'm working on page 1. Here are the stickers I've already cut apart, page 1, so we can set that aside and we'll save these for future layouts. And then these are nicely labeled too. These are the not cardstock, but they're like a thick paper die cuts that you pop out. And it's labeled here, page 1. So I'll just go ahead and pop all these out. They come out very easily and they do leave just minimal little knobs hanging off. So I like to trim those off later. This goes with it as well. And then I'll just go through and see what other embellishments I might need for this page. And then the base pages come already pre-printed too. So I'm just gonna flip through because I know I'm looking for a pink one. Here it is. So it just looks like a piece of patterned paper and we're gonna spruce that up. So I'm gonna go through and gather all the supplies I need and then we'll get started. Here are all the pieces for this particular page, and as you can see the title says 2022, but they also provided this little banner and the letters for memories if you don't want to use this as a title page, so that was perfect for what I wanted to do. So I started laying things out and I have the 2 3x4 mats. And you could certainly use those on a 4x6 photo, but since I have plenty of lemonade cardstock, I decided to cut my own mat for a 4x6 photo. So I cut it to 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. And then I really wanted that circle to be a little more substantial and have a little more contrast behind that background. So I cut a wild berry circle on my Cricut at 8 inches. And that gave about a 1/4 inch border all the way around. I think that's just the perfect little extra pop that it needed, and then we'll add a little mixed media too. So first I'm laying out all of the die cuts to make sure I have the placement where I want them. I decided since there are so many stickers, I wanted to just kind of rough cut them off of that sticker sheet rather than peel them all off and either have them be sticky or take the stick off. I realized that I had those journal lines down at the bottom and they were supposed to go at the top. So I turned it around, but then also realized they were kind of placed if you had the 2 photos that were staggered. So simple solution, I just flipped it over and there were no journal lines. I can add my own later. I'm still going to add them to the top, but I'm just going to have them placed a little bit differently. So I'm going to futz around with these flowers for quite a bit until I decide exactly how I want things placed, just doing a rough placement. I'm going to put this banner down with the memories title. And just like that, everything is in its place. So I'm going to cut off these little hearts and save them for later. And then this 2022, I'm going to set aside for something else. And actually my daughter ended up using it for a project that she was working on as I was doing this. So it was perfect. So now it's time for the mixed media. I'm going to pull this back in and pull out some stencils. These stencils are from Close to My Heart, and what I love about them is that they're 12 by 12 size. I'm going to show you in the catalog here so you can get a better look. I'm using the set on the left, and they come in packs of 3. So this has all of these little different textures, just these little spots of texture. It's really hard to see here, but I'm cutting out the hearts. You can keep these on the 12 by 12 sheet or cut them out, and I feel like it's a little easier to work with if you cut them into the smaller pieces. Not all of this 12 by 12 stencils are like this where they're smaller designs, so a lot of them it does really help to keep them as 12 by 12. So these are little hearts, and I'm going to pull out some texture paste. This is the opaque texture paste from Ranger, and I'm just going to spread a thin layer of it through my stencil. I'm making sure that I scrape off the excess, so it's really just the depth of that stencil film. And it's really hard to tell here how much I'm putting on, but it's just a thin piece, and you're going to spread it just like you would like icing on a cake. It's even sort of the same consistency as a frosting. So I'm going to move that around, and so I have the pieces of my layout out of the way but still sort of there. I'm going to even move them out of the way more, but I want to use that circle as a guide so I know where to place my hearts. So I'm going to do this in a few points around the layout, and I've sped this up now since you've seen me do it once, but just wanted you to see where I'm placing them. So I have an odd number. I have 5 pieces, and then I'm going to rinse this in the sink right away. You definitely want to make sure you rinse it right away so it doesn't harden on your tools. Now I'm using this lined stencil. It's got some little like scratchy looking lines, and I'm using this glitter gel through that. It's just going to give a nice glittery texture. It's a very different consistency than the texture paste. It's really almost like a thick jelly, and that spreads through the stencil really easily. And again, just doing a very thin layer. You don't need a lot of this, but it adds just such a really pretty shine. I didn't get it down quite well on that spot, so I just laid it down and didn't lay it all the way because it was still wet. So I left this overnight to dry. You definitely want to make sure that this has time to dry. It's going to warp your paper just a little bit if you're using just a regular kind of cardstock, not like a thicker watercolor paper or anything, but that's okay. I was able to put some books on it and it flattened most of the way. Now I'm adding some gloss spray. This is just the white. This is an acrylic paint that has a shine to it, and what I like about this is that it sits on top of the paper. It doesn't soak in like some other mediums that you would put on, like the shimmer brushes that I use a lot, and I will also end up using here. So I'm putting that around the page, and this is adding some nice contrast in the background of that light paper. Now I have 2 other sprays that I want to test to see if I like the color. So what I'm doing is splattering them on this cover page so I can see exactly what it's going to look like on that page design. This second spray is a Dilutions spray. This is new to me. The first time I'm playing with it, and I end up not using it, but it's got this really pretty shimmery look to it as well. I end up not going with either of these sprays. They were just a little bit too purpley, and then I remembered that I actually have the wild berry color in the shimmer brush. You guys have seen me use these shimmer brushes before. This one's brand new. I haven't used it. You want to make sure to pull that yellow ring off, then screw the barrel on tight. And then in order to get the fluid flowing, you just want to give it just a very little bit of a shake to get that shimmer mixed up, and then press the sides of the barrel until you start seeing the liquid come out. I like to do this on a block just so I can move it out of the way. You can definitely use that all-purpose mat that I have underneath because that's a great surface that nothing will stick to. But because I want to just be able to easily move it out of the way, I used a block. And I thought that added just the perfect amount of splattering around this layout and gave this background a little more personality and not leaving it so plain, especially since it's such a light color. So I'm trying to show you the shimmer in that shimmer brush, but it's just so hard to catch on camera. All right, so I'm going to start assembling, and this circle, notice I put the adhesive just in the center. That's because I want to leave a little bit of room around the edges in case I want to stick things under it as far as layers go. So I pulled out my Versamat again so that I can better line things up. It's got the ruler marks over on the side, and so I wanted to just make sure I had that lined up correctly. And then I'm going to add some fun foam behind that picture. I wanted to be sure I had a very even level of foam all the way around, and again I left room to be able to tuck things under. Once I started pulling things in place again, I realized that I wanted to ink around the edges of some of the die cuts. So I pulled out a pink ink pad. I've got Blossom here, but you could use Flamingo or any pink that you have. It doesn't have to be exact. I'm actually going to use this same pink on the light pink and the dark pink flowers. And it's just going to give sort of a little bit of definition, even though it's not the exact match. So I'm using it even on the wild berry flowers here. You could definitely skip this step, but I think it adds just a nice little extra bit of dimension to these die cuts. I used lemonade yellow on the yellow flowers and the green leaves since they're kind of a yellowy green. I forgot to ink around this before I laid it down, so luckily I left that edge and I was able to easily go around it with that same pink. And now I'll start to pull in all of these pieces. I've sped this up quite a bit since you've pretty much seen me do this again, but I'm going to start adhering things down and putting things in places again. This is a design that you could do even if you don't have this kit. I know it's really easy to get flowers and leaves and those viney looking pieces either on your Cricut, or you might have some metal dies that can create similar shapes, and you can recreate this idea even if you don't have these exact pieces. Those little viney pieces like the dark green in this are really handy to use for clusters like this because they're easy to just kind of stick in and have a little sprawling vine sticking out of your embellishment clusters. So put the leaves down on the bottom and kind of tuck them in and under things, and then the flowers can be layered on top. So notice that big flower, the focal image, is in the foreground, it's in the front, and the other two are tucked behind. So you would just choose which flower you want to be your focal point and make sure that's on the top. And I have that one on foam tape too because the picture is on foam and it's overlapping that. So anything that's overlapping the photo, I have on foam that's sticking off of the photo, and then just regular glue to adhere it on top of the photo. So I'm just going to go around and stick all of these pieces in. This little sticker with the yellow flowers is a nice one too to kind of have sticking out from little clusters as well. It's sort of got that viney look just like those leaves. So if you have some dies or Cricut cuts that are those viney looks, you might want to just cut a bunch of them out of different colors of green cardstock because they're good to keep on hand for any type of floral embellishing like this. So I'm pretty much going to wrap it up right here at the last flower, and then we have these 3 heart stickers, and I'm going to scatter those around in a visual triangle. And now I'm going to start adding some gems. These are added from my stash. They're not part of the kit, but I love adding little gems and things to these layouts because none of them come with this type of embellishment. And I think these glitter gems are such a fun addition with all of the glittery goodness, and we've got the glitter in our mixed media background, and so it's just the perfect complement. So I'm finished except for the journaling that I'll add up on top of the photo there. So let's take a closer look at this background. We've got the texture paste hearts, we've got the glitter gel in the lines, and some glossy white spray and wildberry shimmer brush to create lots of fun interest that really didn't take a whole lot of extra time to do, just the drying time. So I hope you enjoyed this and got some tips for using your stencils and mixed media. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, and if you haven't already subscribed, be sure to do so for more upcoming scrapbooking videos. Have a great day!